TGR News, broadcasting from the State of Israel.
Welcome back to TGR News.
Hello, hello.
Well, another great week passing out food. It's all thanks to you guys. You guys are the ones making it possible. It's your donations that's giving these people the food that they desperately need to eat every week. It's like I say every week, we thank you for that, and they thank you for that. They're not here to speak directly to you, but every week they're very grateful. They're saying thank you so much, and you can tell that they really need it.
Yeah.
And during the holidays now, Passover can't do anything with yeast in it and stuff. So the packages are a little different, but obviously we all live. They're Israelis, Jewish Israelis. They understand they live here in the country.
Yeah.
So the boxes are different, which is kind of interesting in itself. Trying to figure out what to put in the boxes.
Yeah, missing so many things you cannot use.
So we make sure
pasta and stuff. And,
So we make sure we fill it up with enough stuff to still keep them through the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing that you guys are doing, and we appreciate it. That's for sure. And like God said, He blessed those that bless Israel and curse those that curse Israel. Well, I guess we better get into it.
Yeah, let's start.
Let's talk about what's going on in Russia.
Yeah. During Russia's pulling back out of some of the cities in Ukraine, the destruction that the people of Ukraine are finding is absolutely horrible. The Ukrainians are saying Russia is worse than ISIS.
Yeah.
The evidence left behind from their tactics shows violence that are unimaginable.
That's it really is bad.
Well, they filtered, they how you say
censored
out some things, but
it's too bad.
you can tell it's.
And it's the first city that they're pulling out of. Yeah, the Bucha is what they call the name of the city. And it really is horrifying to see what they're doing, what the Russian military did there. We saw where the Russian tank, the lady was saying, a Russian tank right on the street, point blank, aimed and fired at the house. And when they came out, they shot her husband.
People telling stories. And Russian tried to say it's like fabricate. Yeah,
fake news. Yeah, well, it ain't fake news because you have all the world's journalists. I mean, unless the entire world's in on it, which unlikely. Can't get too many people to agree these days with anything. So you can't. So I don't know about that, so it really is horrifying to see what's happening there.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen because as he's pulling back, we don't even know if he's really pulling back to pull out. He might be pulling back just to regroup to attack in another way, but during this pullback, we see all these horrible things that's going on. Let's talk about what's going on here in the state of Israel. On Friday night, the Israeli security forces went into Jenin and took 3 known terrorists. During this mission, 4 of our agents were seriously injured. The 3 terrorists were caught with a large amount of guns and ammunition to recreate the same attack that was last week in Bnei Brak. Bnei Brak was the one where the guy was walking through the streets in the religious area and firing and shooting people, and he was successful to kill quite a few Jews in that terrorist attack. And so the IDF, the other security forces, and the Israeli intelligence and the Israeli Shabak, which is the Israeli FBI, they've been going on overtime, getting information and everything that they need to be able to stop these things.
I heard that they got the information only like an hour and a half before they really went there and stopped them. They were on the way.
Yeah, they were packing up, ready to go. Yeah, when they caught them. Yeah. It really was something. The Israeli Ministry of Defense has stated that they are expecting Gaza and the Israeli Arabs to escalate the violence and their terror attacks in the coming month. They said they are taking measures to keep the public safe, which they are. Like we just talked about things that are happening. But it's good that they stated that. The biggest thing about terrorists and terrorism is terrorists don't believe they're going to win. They're going to go out and shoot in the city of Nabrok, for example, like they did last week, and they're going to win this war. And now Israel, the state of Israel, is theirs. They don't believe that. What they believe and what they're doing is terrorism. And the whole point is if they can cause the Israeli public to go out of leave their house less, or to not go change their habits because they're afraid of a terrorist attack, then terrorism won.
Yeah,
because that's the point of terrorism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Bennett addressed the nation to say that we are in a new wave of terror attacks, like you said, but we have been through them before, and like before, we will get through this wave of attacks as well. As I said last week, that we're strong.
Yeah.
We will be through it.
Yeah, that's what you said. Is he must have watched the video and just said, "Oh, Ola says the right thing."
Learned some.
They learned something.
I hope he learned a little bit more from us.
I wish he would. Yeah, because he said basically what you said last week.
Yes.
He said a couple of days later.
We're strong. We will fight it, and we'll be okay.
Just like we got through the ones before, we'll get through this one.
Yeah.
Now Israel is reinforcing police officers in the streets with IDF soldiers and getting ready for a long-term security risk in the state. They are calling this water breaker. The mission is Shover Galim in Hebrew, or wave breaker.
Wave breaker.
It's like the water breakers like you have in a marina, right? Is the name of it. One of the things they did is finally repair the holes in the borders of the Arab areas that are not Israeli. We have areas like Jenin, for example, okay, where there are Arabs living here. They're not Israeli citizens. They're not, and these usually is where most of the terrorists come out of. And it's been a long-going problem where there were holes in the fence of the border between us. And there were by the thousands every day. Buses were waiting.
50,000.
50,000
every day.
Every day would leave. Their buses and taxi cabs were waiting for them already. It's not like Israel didn't know about this. We've known about this for a long time. And take them to let them illegally work somewhere here in the country. And then in the evening, bring them back, and they go back through the hole in the fence. Well, finally, the reason Israel has let that happen is because we wanted them to allow them to be able to find work and maybe make some more money. And, we're trying to be nice, actually, is why we let it happen for so long. But now with all these new terrorist attacks and everything, Israel's finally said, okay, well, we're going to stop that. We're going to reinforce the fence, stop that from happening. So
they say that to fix the whole fence, it's gonna cost about 2 billion shekels. So that's a big thing, if you want to really make it
impenetrable.
Yeah, exactly. The border police were under attack at the Damascus Gate in the old city of Jerusalem on Sunday night. The Arabs said it was because the Jews are not allowed there.
Yeah, that's what they said. It's their place. And they're talking about the old city of Jerusalem in the state of Israel. And the Arabs on TV are saying that it's theirs and we're not allowed to be around there. And it wasn't like there was a large crowd of Jews there. It was just the Israeli security forces that's always there to keep the peace and stop riots and people going crazy. It's it really is. To add more fire to the situation that's happening here in the Middle East, as if not enough is going on lately, Lebanon on Monday released a statement saying that they're bankrupt. You see photos and videos, clips coming out of Lebanon where hundreds of tons of trash is on the street where the country doesn't have the money to pay the people, like the trash man, to pick the trash up. And
it's chaos there.
Yeah, it's chaos there. It really is. And
it's not surprising that was happening in Lebanon. We knew that they have big money-wise problems because the heads of them, they just they live okay. And then the people just forced to be ask for bread. And it's a very bad thing.
Bad situation.
Yeah.
We need to pray for those people because if intelligence is correct, and I believe it is, I really do believe it is, the average Lebanese person is not someone who wants to see the destruction of Israel. It's not someone who wants to see the destruction of the United States. It's the Lebanese people in history and in general, and as far as intelligence goes nowadays, they don't want Hezbollah in the government and running the country. They don't want all of us, all these attacks and everything. They want peace with Israel and their neighboring countries. They want Iran out of their country, and they really are in bad shape.
I even heard they show some people talking like, "Oh, we hope that Israelis will come and rule this country for us.
Yeah, there was
take
even
over.
there was even people that they were interviewed on the street and said exactly that. Exactly,
Yeah.
that's very important. To hear. I mean, I would have never guessed that an Arab country, the people in the street would have said, "I wish Israel would come over, take over the country, and run this country." I would be happier. Arabs saying that, right?
Yeah.
That just goes to show you how bad the
Exactly.
But around the world, any country that's under Islamic control, the people are not thriving. There's not you. If I'm wrong, please write a comment and teach me something that I don't know, and we'll figure it out together. But as far as I know, there's not one country in the world under Islamic, not Arab, Islamic control that's thriving. The IDF, with intelligence agents, has stopped 15 large terrorist attacks this past week alone. These are terrorists that had plans and weapons to head out and make the attack within hours in some situations of the IDF stopping them at their homes.
Scary. It's really
That's what we were
scary.
talking about, how the security forces and intelligence here in Israel have been ramping things up to keep us safe, and they have. 15 terrorist attacks
This past week. Yeah.
this past
Last
week that they stopped red-handed with the plans, with the weapons, with everything, where they were going out in hours or some cases at most a couple days from when they caught them, stopped them. So that's 15 terrorist attacks that were not in the news and that we are not talking about because they headed off.
Exactly. In the meantime, this week Israeli intelligence was able to put their hands on a large stock of weapons that Arabs were hiding in barrels underground in the Negev for future attacks.
Yes, it was they like 55-gallon drums. If I remember right, there were 20 feet deep, maybe a little bit less, but over 10 feet deep, and it was a big stockpile. And that's just one stockpile they found. So if they're doing that, they're doing more and more. If they've got more somewhere around there. And they already attacking us with weapons, and they have large amounts of weapons. And now we found out that they got even larger amounts of weapons stacked away for a rainy day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about finance.
Lieberman.
Minister of Finance, Lieberman, has finally decided to give the people a small break by lowering the taxes on fuel by half a shekel for 3 months. Half a shekel is 50 agorot. It's about, how much?
Yeah, it works out when you talk about gallon. Remember, I told you the prices of fuel here is about $8-9 a gallon for gasoline and $10 a gallon for diesel. Now he's talking about lowering it, which translates to about 50 cents. So it would be about $7.50 to $8.50, about $7.50 for gasoline and $9.50 for. So it's not a big break, and plus he said he's only going to do it for 3 months.
Thank you, Lieberman.
Oh my, yeah.
We appreciate it.
You're so wonderful to the people here. We love you so much.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to get him out of office. Anyway, well, talking about getting him out of office.
Yeah.
Here's something that also happened this week.
Yes.
Idit Silman. She was the chairwoman of the coalition. It's a position that a lot of things in government over here is different. You have the coalition, which you have right now the prime minister. He's the head of the coalition. He's the prime minister, right? Head of his party as the prime minister. But the coalition itself, once they make a coalition, they make someone chairperson, who it runs all the ins and outs of the coalition between all the parties, right? So this woman, that was her job. It was Idit Silman. She's been always a right-wing Knesset member. Well, on Wednesday, she resigned from a position saying that she does not want to be a part of this left-wing coalition, these are her words, and have a hand in the state of Israel losing its Jewish roots. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Her actions are now causing a wave of instability in the coalition, meaning we may be going into the 5th election in 3 years. But I'd be happy for this election. They took a poll, and Bibi jumped up. Well, Likud jumped
Benjamin
up.
Netanyahu.
Yeah, jumped up in polls 10, almost 10 points.
Yeah. Well, there's a few things can happen now, from now on. If another person from the coalition will join her,
Yes.
the opposition now has 61,
Yep.
and they can just
Yeah, there's
go
a few
to another.
things that could happen, yeah.
The second thing, if it stays like that, well, we have a break now for it's something that we have in
Passover.
Israel. Yeah, Passover break. It's so I'm not sure if they're gonna do something. Maybe they'll try to win some time. But if it stays like that, they have like I don't know. They don't have enough. The coalition don't have enough
61
members to have
seats.
61 seats and pass any law. They cannot do.
Yeah.
They cannot just work like that. They
Yeah,
have
the
to do
coalition.
something.
The coalition has to have the majority seats of the Knesset, and the Knesset has 120
20,
seats.
so 61.
So 120. So you have to have 61 seats,
Yeah.
and if they lose a seat, a Knesset member or someone, and they go to the other side, or they don't even have 61 anymore, well, that's what causes either the election, or you can, with the old election, start a new coalition.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, we'll
it's
see.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
I think after the left-wing coalition, will probably be right again.
Oh, I'm
so
sure.
it's good. I hope.
Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu, he had a rally the other night in Tel Aviv about it, trying to, rally up the troops, get them ready for in case there's an
make some
election.
fire and stuff.
Yeah, doing his stuff. Well, you got anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's something happened in Israel lately that they talk about Abu Mazen, and they talk about him being old. And
Who is Abu Mazen?
I'm
know
sorry.
who Abu Mazen
Oh,
is.
I'm sorry. Abu Mazen is the head of Palestinian Authority.
Yeah.
And even though he's not 100% affecting all the people, there's still terror acts and stuff. But they say from 100 terror attacks that's supposed to happen in Israel last year, the authority of Palestine gave us information about 30. So it's like kind of they working with us and giving us information. And Israeli like this kind of, Abu Mazen, because he's helping us. You can tell, I don't know. Now he's weak and he's old. And it looks like he's gonna give up his position. And Israel concerned who will come after him.
Yeah.
And the candidates, they don't look good. It don't look good for us.
Right.
They look very. All of them have a bad past. Terror attacks and stuff. And some of them were sitting in the Israeli jails. So
one of them is still in jail as of now, and to life. And he's also running, and if he wins, he'll run. He'll be the head of the from jail, from behind bars.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah,
somebody sitting in jail and just.
Anyway.
So that's what I want to tell you, inform you guys that Israel now a little bit concerned about. There's talking about this situation and what will happen if, when it will happen. So I hope it's gonna be. I don't know. I hope it's going to be better. I hope it's going to be okay, even though the chances are not very high.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen there? But I trust Israel for being able to take care of what needs to be taken care of. We've had bad people in that position before, and it was a given that it's going to happen again. So, we'll see. Well, that's it.
Yeah. We have a nice weather. We're going to make
beautiful
videos
weather.
for you guys.
As soon as we get out, make some videos.
Yeah.
Well, it was good that we did the news. And like we always say, if you want to join, please join us on thegoldenreport.com. And until next week, God bless.
Bye-bye.